Hi everybody, this is Osprey from MyChartCoach.com, and in this video we're going to take a look at the marijuana sector. Okay, first up is ticker symbol MJ. This is the Alternative Harvest ETF. I believe it does have 15 United States marijuana companies in this ETF here, and so what's going on is it's been holding on to EMA4 support. It's clinging on to that pink line there. As long as it's holding, it signals more upside potential. That's currently at 34.55. Once that level breaks, that's when you could see some consolidation. 33.88 would be the next key support level to hold. What it needs to do is close above the closing price here on the bottom of this black candle. It needs to break through 35 resistance and turn that into support to head higher. As you can see, there are 3 unfilled gaps below. Notice volume is kind of tapering off here, so we'll see if volume comes back in the form of a red or a green volume bar. Okay, let's take a look here. Hmlsf. This is Horizon Marijuana Life Science Index ETF. This is following the Canadian marijuana companies. It's a very low volume type of ETF, but it does give us insight into how the Canadian marijuana stocks are trading, and you can see they've been on this parabolic run, just pushing super hard. It's clinging once again to EMA4. for HMLSF, it's all about staying above $17. If it can stay above 17.25 is the key level to break. Closing above 17.25 is going to signal upside potential, and then you'll have this 18 high on deck. If it drops below 17, you're going to see 16.50. Possibly drop down to 16. All right, there's a couple unfilled gaps on this chart as well, 3 of them as well. And so yeah, so we're just going to see next week if it can hold on to EMA4. Okay, yeah, it keeps going to the chat. If you look here at the Canopy growth, CGC here, it's been on a nice run. It keeps pushing higher, even after forming that red candle here. Yeah, even after forming the red candle, it still is holding on to EMA4. It formed the red candle up here, hitting the upper Bollinger Band, and then it came down, and notice how it closed right above the pink line. It's just clinging onto that level. Right now, the trading programs, the computer programs, are not allowing that level to break with the close below. You know, they're clinging onto it. Once it breaks, that's going to be your clue. Okay, it's finally breaking down. In order to keep heading higher, what it has to do, it has to keep making new high closes on the daily chart. And so it has to close above the top of this white candle to keep heading higher. If it fails to break this 52.50 resistance zone with the close above, that will be a red flag. It's right at a flex point right now. It's either going to break EMA4 support and drop below 50.50, or it's going to break 52.50 resistance with the close above. It's right there. I mean, it could maybe have one more candle in the zone here, but next week, early next week, Monday or Tuesday, you're going to see either this breakout higher or breakdown lower. It's really setting up right now. You've got this declining volume pattern going on. There was the big volume spike at the top that looked like a climax spike right here, because you have the giant volume at the top, and so many times when that happens, you get a pullback, and then the big players are going to want to reload. And now where would be a possible reload target? Well, always shoot for that middle Bollinger Band. It's currently down around $40. If that level holds on a pullback, you're going to get that good low re-entry point. Okay, let's take a look at Tilray here, ticker symbol TLRY. Yeah, this is the IPO that's just been going nuts. This has been one heck of a great trade. Yeah, for going onto the big boards and performing like this, it's incredible. Starting way down here in the 22s, $20 basically was the low, and then to be able to run all the way up to 97.50, that's amazing in a short period of time. It's just super freaking frothy. It got a downgrade. I can't remember what the price target was that they put on it, but everybody I think agrees that this is very overvalued at the current level. There are multiple unfilled gaps below. There's 1, 2, 3 big ones here. This one filled, but there's another 4th one down here. So it has 4 unfilled gaps on the chart, and so the first one, if it pulled back, a drop down here to the top of this candle here, just below 67.50, that would fill the gap. It's in the 66s, and then yeah, the second gap gap, if it came down to 55, that would fill both of those gaps. A drop down to $50, that would put it at the top of the third gap here. And so that would, it's going to need to hold that middle Bollinger Band to keep the uptrend going. So it's going to be very important. It would be good for the chart to pull back, reset, let everybody reload, and then possibly have a launch there for that October, legalization. If it keeps pushing, it just all the gains are baked in. So it's better for people, especially if you're thinking about this long term. People would rather load at lower levels. So we'll just have to see what happens. It's great for everybody that's in it. It's a long-term investor where it's at, but it's like how high can that keep pushing? Okay, let's look at Cronos Group, ticker symbol CRON here. Yeah, this stock is also pushing very nicely. It has a nice uptrend going. It pulled back and it held support, just like CGC. Had the black candle and then the red candle came down and held support. This is a chart that we've been working on. I wanted to show you this one because it's one that we've been putting updates in. And the big thing on this chart is there is a little gap below. Yeah, this chart can be difficult to read. If you look right here, there's a gap down here between these two candles, between the 31st and the start of September trading. And so a drop down to 1025 would fill that gap. If you see it close below EMA4 here at 1167, that would be a red flag. If it dropped below 11, that would be a real signal that it's cooling down. And then to the upside, it has to break above the high close here, which is 1275. That's the big level. So if Cronos Group can close above 1275 next week, that's going to be your signal. Okay, it's ready to keep pushing higher. Okay, let's look at Acbff, Aurora Cannabis. So yeah, it failed to break the 200-day simple moving average. It had the climax spike. So you have it had the gap, which it came down and filled here between these two candles. It had the climax spike is when you're at the top. It always is better if the candle's floating above the upper Bollinger Band like this, and then you have a larger volume bar than all the previous volume bars. Notice how volume was building on the way up, and then at the top you have what's called the climax spike. Big money likes to lock in gains at the top. Yep, sorry about that. I have the football game there. It dropped down below the 200-day simple moving average, and that level failed to turn into support. That's the big thing on this chart. It's all about getting above $7 in this 200-day simple moving average. If those levels are resistance, that's going to signal a temporary top. It's going to keep being the lock-in gain zone. If you play the bounce here, then that's going to be the lock-in gain zone if it fails to break. If it breaks above the 200-day simple moving average, that signals more upside potential, and it could run back up to $8. Right now, what we're looking for is a technical bounce off of the middle Bollinger Band and the 50-day simple moving average. Looking for a bounce next week off of $6. If that failed to hold, that would be a major red flag. You're going to see it drop down to that 300-day simple moving average, and if it's going to head down there, it might as well just come down and fill the gap and drop to $5. There's an unfilled gap down at $5. It would be best if it held here. I'm going to show you some charts coming up here. Stocks that are in an uptrend that are bullish, they like to bounce off of the middle Bollinger Band, and they definitely like to bounce off that 50-day simple moving average. Both those levels are converging right now at that 596 level. That level should hold. If it fails to hold, that's a major red flag. So look to reload off that level. Okay, so yeah, but if it breaks, it signals downside risk, and then you're shooting for $5. Okay, look at APHQF here. Has a very strong uptrend going. Okay, this one is really pushing hard as well. It got really ahead of itself on this candle on Thursday, and then it took a pause candle here on Friday. There was a bearish median lines reversal pattern formed here, but these two candles closed at the same level, and that created a bearish reversal pattern. But the next day, it was like on steroids, and it pushed so hard it was crazy, and it closed at high of day. On Friday, this is what we just call a pause candle. It's still on the strong uptrend. It had a tight trading range, but it just closed right here at the key support level. And so as long as the EMA4 here continues to hold, the uptrend should continue. Okay, so that's going to be your red flag. If it drops below $15 and that level turns into resistance, that there is a gap down here at 13, and then there's another gap way down here at $9. Okay, so yeah, this is the bearish median line reversal pattern that formed, but it pushed ahead of that, and it's trying to push higher. Okay, so let's look at. Sorry, it keeps going back to the chat thing. I don't know why it's doing that. Let's look at the Cnttf here. This is CannTrust. Okay, so yeah, this is been touted by the some dude on CNBC, some marijuana guy is saying this is the top dog in his book. So yeah, you never know. He could be right. He could be wrong. Just follow the charts. That's the deal. Is, you know, don't follow the chatter, follow the charts. And so right now the charts are showing that this is a very strong uptrend. It's trying to break this closing price here on May 14th. If it can stay above that level, basically at 775, 780, then it could push higher. That's the huge level to break. It has to turn into support. It's been working on it for several days. If it does turn into support, look for a run up here to 975 zone. That's the high close from back in January. It looks like it's filling the jar. Notice how this candle right here broke above the descending resistance line. That was very bullish, okay? And then it held support here on this double bottom bounce. So it's a really nice move. And also what I like here is this volume. You know, it has really good volume behind the move. There was this big load, you know, this big candle here, which looked like a climax spike, but they pulled it back and held support, and they're trying to push it higher. I think people have been chasing these, and they're loading at these higher levels on these marijuana stocks. Okay, let's look at Gtbif. This is Green Thumb Industries. All right, so take a look at this one. It's got a crazy little pattern here. I mean, wouldn't it have been nice if you caught this thing when it was down here at 3 cents? You know, that would have been a dream, right? That's the thing with these marijuana stocks is that they have these kind of, you know, there's this type of potential. You know, 3 cents to $14 in just a few months. That's pretty amazing for anybody that caught this. I know not many people did, but just showing what could be. Notice how tight this channel is here. So in order to really view this chart, and look at the big volume, the volume's really been increasing lately. We want to look at a 2-month chart, and that will smooth out the data for us. And so basically it's got a nice uptrend going, and it's right in EMA4 support. There is an unfilled gap right here. So you got the come on, baby. There you go. Unfilled gap right here. And then another unfilled gap down here. And so, you know, that those are red flags. At some point, those could fill. Just watch EMA4 at 14.18. You know, once it closes below, that's going to be a bearish change in trend. That level's been holding since way back here on the 15th of August. Okay, take a look here at Tgodf here. Tgodf. All right, this is another one to keep an eye on. Yeah, this one is up 3%. The thing here is it's got a nice uptrend going. It had this really big volume. A lot of these stocks had volume on the same day, so it looks like maybe there were some maybe institutional buy-in or something that was going on here. You know, they were doing some loading. As long as it stays above the green line and the dotted purple line, the middle Bollinger Band, which is the 20-day simple moving average, and above the green line, the 50-day simple moving average, this uptrend should continue. What you want to see is a break above 540. A break above 540 should send it up to $6, because the big level to break is the high close from back in June. Okay, take a look at, it does this every time. Take a look at Emmbf here, closed up 9%. I'm just going to keep making the video. I could redo it, but I'm already so far in it, so I apologize for the glitches and stuff. Just trying to share the information. I probably have too many charts up here. Yeah, this caught my eye. I thought this was a nice close above the 300-day simple moving average at 127. It also closed above the 200-day simple moving average down here at 121. If it stays above both levels, it should head higher. I mean, those are the top moving averages. You do have the 400-day simple moving average at 142 coming up, but this is really, you know, very bullish here. Look, it's on big volume for this thinly traded stock. It got an uptrend going back here on the 20th when it got above the middle Bollinger Band. So we're going to see if this can continue. When the stock is breaking out on the daily chart, what you want to do is use a weekly chart to find the next resistance levels. And so notice here how it closed above that green line. That's the 50-week moving average, currently at 124. Back here in January and December, it got above that level, but it failed to hold and it pulled back. We've been waiting a long time for this close, and so I mean, literally since January, I've been waiting for a close back above this level, and that finally happened. So I'm sharing that with you, and that is your reward for watching this video. So good job. Thanks for sticking with it. All right, let's look at A, C, and F here. Okay, this is Acn. This is an Australian marijuana company. So I guess Australia is not really in favor right now. It's all about Canada and the U.S. So this thing's been just tanking. I know that they have ties with other Canadian marijuana companies. So keep an eye on this one. You know, this is a legit company. It's obviously out of favor. It's in a very nasty downtrend right now. It tried to get above this 50-day simple moving average and got rejected. They really pulled it back. Volume is not that strong. It is on a 6-day pullback, so it looks set up for a technical bounce. It filled the gap. You know, there's two gaps on the chart that's kind of weird. There's a gap between this candle and this candle, and then a gap between this candle and this candle, and they were both unfilled until this pullback here. And so now both of these gaps have filled. That is a catalyst for a technical bounce. And so what would possibly you could see next week is a bounce off the 61 to 60 support zone. You know, it might come down and test this 57, 58 level. That would be really key if you could get a load off of that. But somewhere between you know, these two levels, you know, there should be a technical bounce next week after this gap fill and everything. I mean, I don't know why this is tanking so hard. Maybe there's something else going on here. But just from a technical perspective, it caught my eye. You could possibly get a bounce with a work back up to that 50-day simple moving average at 75. It's going to have to break that level to signal that it's finally ready to really break out higher. Okay, I was pushing it a little too hard on the charts, but yeah, let's take a look at yeah, I'm just going to go up to the annotation real quick for you. Let's see, did I mess it up? Yeah, let's see here. Let's go right here. Okay, so yeah, so you could see here that this is, I wanted to show you these technical bounces. This is ticker symbol GRWC. This is Grow Condos. This is a United States marijuana company. And so it came down here and it bounced right off of that 50-day simple moving average at 15.4. Look at that nice bounce off that level. It looks like that was a bullish piercing line reversal pattern. I didn't check to see, but it looks like, you know, maybe there's a bearish engulfing and it was confirmed. And then you got a bullish piercing line with the confirmation on Friday. That's how I'm reading it. Just real quickly here, it's a close above the middle Bollinger Band at 17.8. That's the stop loss level. It's got to stay above that level. If that level holds, what you want to see is a break above high close resistance here. I'm calling it the 21 resistance level. It's basically this candle here. There's this tight trading range, right? So all these candles are in a tight range, and once it closes above, that should be the signal it wants to head higher. So keep an eye on Grow Condos. And then one more to keep an eye on is this Mcig, ticker symbol MCIG. This is just another one. I'm just showing how, you know, this is a little technical analysis strategy here, but yeah, you can see this one closed up 5%. It's back in the bull zone here on RSI. And so the thing is, it came back while in an uptrend, and it's bouncing off of the 50-day simple moving average here at 27. It also hit the 100-day simple moving average at 26. It's back above the middle Bollinger Band at 28. As long as those levels hold, this uptrend that started back here on this candle, when it got above this dotted purple line, that signaled the start of a new uptrend, and then it pulled back, and now it's hitting key support. This is where you reload, and if it holds, you've got the good re-entry, and then you're looking for a run back up to 34, up to the top of this candle. That'll be the where if it would have to break that level. If it failed to break, you would lock in gains, and then it would have to be up here at this candle here. And so this is how we do it. And so it's just like, it's pretty basic. But yeah, so the cool thing is, and I was just discussing that in the chat, is the patterns never change. The only thing that changes are the ticker symbols, and all we really care about are the patterns, because if you find the right patterns that are the key to success, then you just keep repeating success over and over again. Okay? All right, thanks for viewing this video.